at COP19 of CITES, which is presently going on, India has taken an unusual stand on the matters of ivory trade. Hello and welcome to the In Focus series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be discussing about India's unusual abstention in CITES vote. So let us first look at the timeline of the video. First we'll be looking at the news, then what is the issue that India has taken an unusual stand, then about the CITES agreement and the tussle over ivory, then India and ivory trade, then what are the initiatives that has been taken by the government of India to save elephants, then in the end a prelims MCQ. This topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is environment and ecology. See, from exam perspective you should be able to know that what is CITES agreement and all the aspects related to it, and then what is the relationship between India and ivory trade, or what has been the stand that has been taken by India over the years regarding the ivory trade, then about the initiatives taken by the government from the perspective of mains. So let's get started and see the news, and the news has been taken from Indian Express, and it says India's unusual abstention in CITES vote on reopening ivory trade. So first important point is unusual, that what has been happened, that it has been said that India has behaved in an unusual manner. Then second is important thing is to know about the CITES, then the reopening of ivory trade. Reopening means something which has already been done before. That is why we are saying reopening. It means that there is a matter which has been going on since a long period of time. So first and foremost we need to understand that what is ivory or what is ivory trade. So we all have seen elephants many a times. So the white substance of which the tusk of the elephant is made up of is called ivory, and that has always been in news regarding its trade. So whenever you see elephant, you see these white or off-white color tusks, and that is what is ivory. And in the international market, the trade of ivory is considered from in many places to be banned and illegal, and these are extremely expensive. So let us see that what is its relationship with India and what is presently going on. So recently the 19th meeting of the Conference of Parties, that is COP2 CITES, that is Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Fauna and Flora, that is being held in the Panama City from 14th to 25th of November. So the CITES, COP19 of CITES is going on, and India has taken a decision not to vote against a proposal. So India has taken a decision that they are not going to vote against the proposal, not to vote against a proposal regarding reopening the international trade in ivory at the ongoing conference of the CITES. So this is the proposal that many African countries have proposed to reopen the trade in ivory, that is reopening of the controlled trade in ivory. And since past many years we have seen that India has always been against reopening of the trade, but for the very first time we are seeing that India has abstained its vote. India has held back its vote. They have explicitly not voted against reopening of the trade in ivory. So India's decision not to vote against a proposal, and the proposal is regarding the reopening the international trade in ivory at the ongoing Conference of Parties, that is 19 of CITES. And this has surprised many people because India has till now explicitly was against reopening of the trade, but for the very first time they have abstained its vote. And the proposal is to allow regular form of controlled trade in ivory from the African nations of Namibia, Botswana, South Africa and Zimbabwe. So we all know that the elephants are present in major quantities or the major numbers in African nations, and especially the country of Botswana. So these countries wanted to start the control trade of ivory, but now this time India has abstained its vote. And this proposal has been defeated in the COP19 of CITES by 83-15 in the Panama City. So even though the proposal has been defeated, but still India has abstained its vote. Now let's talk about the CITES agreement. The CITES agreement is an international agreement between governments of many states, and the states adhere the rules of the CITES voluntarily. And there are at present 184 countries who are member of the CITES agreement, and the aim of the CITES is to ensure that international trade in wild animals and plants does not threaten. The important words here are does not threaten the survival of the species. So the main aim is to see that is there any threat to the species of animals or flora and fauna. So if there are any threats, then the role of CITES will come. Then the convention or the CITES convention entered into force in 1975. Important point is that India became its 25th party, and the conference of the parties, which we know and the abbreviation of which is COP, is the supreme decision making body of CITES. So these are few of the important points. At first we need to know that it is an international agreement between government, it is an intergovernmental body. Then there are 184 countries. What is its aim? Its aim is to ensure that international trade in wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. Then it came into force in 1975, and Conference of Parties, it's a supreme decision making body. The main word is supreme. Then all import, export and re-export of species covered under CITES must be authorized through a permit system, and that permit system is CITES Appendix 1 and CITES Appendix 2. These are the major two sections under CITES. So all the species of flora and fauna which comes under CITES Appendix 1 are species threatened with extinction. So all the species who are threatened with extinction comes under CITES Appendix 1. See, this is an important point. This many a times can come in prelims MCQ with the statements like this mammal or this animal comes under CITES Appendix 1. So you need to know about these things. That CITES Appendix 1, the species threatened with extinction. Import or export permits for these are issued rarely, and they can only be issued if, and I am using the word only, they can only be issued if the purpose is not commercial. Then only the permit can be given. Examples can be gorillas, sea turtles and lady slipper orchids or etc. So CITES Appendix 1 are species which are threatened with extinction. Then comes the CITES Appendix 2. These are species not necessarily threatened with extinction, but in which trade must be strictly regulated. That at present these species are not threatened, or these species are not endangered, or these are not facing the extinction issues, but still their trade must be regulated, because if their trade will not be regulated, then it might be come into a situation where extinction of these species can take place, and that is the reason why their trade is strictly regulated. And the examples can be paddlefish, lions, American alligators, etc. Then comes the tussle over ivory. Okay, what is the issue that has been going over ivory? So, international ivory trade was globally banned in 1989, and India truly supports this ban. So, overall internationally also the trade of ivory was banned. Then all African elephant populations were put in CITES Appendix 1 at this point of time. Then we all know that elephants are majorly found in the African countries. Then the populations of Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe were transferred to Appendix 2 in 1997. See, this is an important point. And South Africa in 2000. So first the population was in Appendix 1, but the countries of Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, they said that the population of elephants in their countries are coming back online, and that is why they transferred elephants to the Appendix 2. That means Appendix 2 means that their trade should be strictly regulated. And South Africa transferred its elephants in the Appendix 2 list in 2000. and the Namibia's proposal for allowing a regular form of controlled trade in ivory. So controlled trade, it means that trade should be done but in a controlled manner. This is what the African nations were proposing, and now also this is what they proposed, that the controlled trade of ivory should be reopened, even though their demand or their proposal has been rejected and India abstained itself from voting on this. So Namibia's proposal for controlled trade in ivory was rejected at COP17 that held in 2016 and COP18 that took place in 2019. It means earlier also this proposal of Namibia was rejected. And the ongoing COP19, the proposal was moved by Zimbabwe, but this time also it has been rejected. So this is the tussle over ivory, that the African nation wants to go into the reopening of the controlled trade, but the other nations do not want to start. So the 4 southern African countries, elephants populations have bounced back, so they wanted to restart the trade in ivory, and the stockpiled ivory, if they will sell in international market, then they can generate much needed revenue for their country, because I have said this earlier also, that the ivory trade, the cost of ivory, they are extremely expensive in the international market, and their trade is illegal at present. So the African countries think that if they will be allowed to sell it, then they will be able to generate a good amount of revenue, and that will help them in elephant conservation and incentivizing their communities. Then comes the topic of India and ivory trade. So the endangered Asian elephant was included in CITES Appendix 1 in 1975. So with this you also know that the IUCN status of Asian elephant is endangered. It also banned the export of ivory from the Asian range countries. Then in 1986, India amended the Wildlife Protection Act, which came in 1972, to ban even domestic sales of ivory. So it means in India, domestic sale of ivory is banned, plus the elephants come in the CITES Appendix 1, and the Wildlife Protection Act was also amended. Then India banned the import of African ivory in 1991. Then in 1981, New Delhi hosted COP3 of CITES, and India designed the iconic CITES logo in the form of an elephant, so that they can show its support towards the conservation of elephant and not starting the trade of ivory. Then in 1992 COP8, what has happened is the polarization of parties was seen, and the one end said for the sustainable use and trade in wildlife, while the other stand was taken to ban and strict control on the ivory. But the ban and strict control of the ivory parties, they were more in number, so they outnumbered the one which was talking about the sustainable use and trade in wildlife. Then came the 1994 COP9, which talked about, and in this COP, India opposed the downlisting of the elephant population of South Africa from Appendix 1 to Appendix 2. So India, if you will see, has always been in favor of conservation of elephant and not in favor of restarting the trade in ivory. And that in India also the domestic trade in ivory is banned. Internationally also India do not trade in ivory. The import has also been banned, and it comes under the CITES Appendix 1. All these points are important for you to write in mains examination, in your answer writing practice, and also from the mains perspective and prelims perspective. Then comes the 1997 COP10, which India talked about expressing concern over repercussions for the Asian elephant, particularly with regard to poaching. And as we all know that the Asian elephant, the IUCN status is endangered. So we do not want that, when we as a nation has worked so much on the conservation of elephant, we do not want to let it go. Then come the COP11, which took place in 2000. In this, India moved a proposal along with the host country to uplist all elephant populations in Appendix 2 to Appendix 1. So, see, all these COP, from this you can very clearly point out that India has always been in favor of bringing elephants from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1, so that the conservation of elephant, the extinction of elephant does not take place, and the population of elephant should be increasing. And in our country also we have Project Elephant, and the government is moving and working at a very high level to conserve their elephant population. Then in COP17 and COP18, India voted against proposals to reopen, and here India voted against. Over the years, we have seen that India has always voted against and has been very explicit in its stance over showing that they are against reopening. But this time, COP19, India was not against the proposal of reopening trade in ivory, and they abstained, they held back its vote. Even though the vote was not in favor of the African countries, but still India abstained from voting. Now let us talk about the initiatives taken by the government. This is an important mains perspective topic. So the first is Project Elephant. This was launched in 1991-92. Many a times the year at which the project has been launched becomes very important, and it is a centrally sponsored scheme of Ministry of Environment and Forest. And which is the state in India which has the highest population of elephants? That is Karnataka. Then comes the elephant reserves. Elephant reserves have been created, that is a huge land has been given for elephants so that they can move from one place to another place. And the management entity notified by the state governments. So they have been notified by the state governments, and they have been given that notification, or they have been under the government of India. Then it includes protected areas, forest areas, corridors, private and reserve lands. And in India, at present, India has more than 32 elephant reserves. Then comes the MIKE program, or the monitoring of illegal killing of elephants program. So this has been a landmark project which has been started by the government of India, the MIKE program, and it was mandated by Conference of Parties Resolution of CITES, that is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. So MIKE program is something which is keeping an eye on what is happening in the illegal market, or what is there any illegal killing of elephants which is being going on or not. And many a times we have seen that elephants are killed for their ivory, for the illegal trade of ivory, because they are so expensive in international or global market. Then comes the prelims MCQ, and you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. And this is a UPSC PYQ, and this was asked in 2020. So this says, with reference to Indian elephants, consider the following statements. Statement 1, the leader of an elephant group is a female. Second, the maximum gestation period can be 22 months. Third, an elephant can normally go on calving till the age of 40 years only. Fourth, among the states in India, the highest elephant population is in Kerala. So these are 4 statements, and the codes given are 1 and 2 only, 2 and 4 only, 3 only, 1, 3 and 4 only. And you people have to tell the correct answer. So try solving these kind of questions, because this is what is being asked by the UPSC. They are making questions bit tricky nowadays, and it is becoming difficult. But if you know the facts clearly, then you will be able to eliminate options. And elimination is the best technique that you can get to your answer in the prelims paper. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.